The biggest talking point on day 3 of the second and final test between India and South Africa was India's batting approach that led to them bundled out for just a little over 200 runs. The question most people were asking was why it is that they were adopting what appeared to be an aggressive batting approach when you could see that, truth be told, playing conventional test cricket would have allowed you to get runs. This was true not only in terms of how the South African players batted, but also how some of India's own batters played later on. How a Washington Sundar could get runs, how a Kuldeep Yadav could hang around later. The way they were able to do it was by playing attritional cricket and not looking to attack every now and again. They were looking to attack, sure, but only taking their opportunities when it came. Otherwise, they were being patient and respecting the conditions. So, why such an alteration when it came to plans? Well, it was in fact Washington Sundar who addressed the media in the mandatory post-day press conference, and he did reveal something rather interesting. Whilst most of us thought that it was a team mandate that they looked to be aggressive, because again, that's how they would want to force the issue by eating into the deficit quickly, what Sundar simply said was, this was simply down to individual plans. Here's what he had to say. He said that there was no plan today about how many runs we had to get today or in the first innings. It's up to the individuals what their plans are. So what Washington is basically saying is that, look, it was down to the individual batters to figure out how it is that they had to bat within the conditions. They all made their plans, and well, it was simply a case of them committing to it. He also added and said that, some of the shots that the likes of Pant and Jarrell played, had it worked out, we would have been applauding them for saying that, oh, what a nice six it was. So it just didn't work out, and it was just purely bad luck. I will say that I find this a little tough to believe, because the way the top order and then the lower order batted, it seemed like there was a clear departure. And yes, whilst you can say that that is down to, of course, the fact that the lower order felt they had to dig in and stay longer, the top order you're telling me that no one decided that we're going to play a long innings. You're telling me that no one in the batting order decided that, no, we need to not look to attack every ball. We're going to play and we're going to try and bat long. Because if you bat long, runs are there for the offering. Sinran Muthuswamy proved it. Marco Jansen proved it. They all proved it. And yet, not one of them decided to stick about long. Kuldeep Yadav was the batter who batted out the most balls in this particular innings for India. What it tells me is that this is not quite the case, and this is simply Washington deflecting or ensuring that he's covering for the team, being a good team player, and that I can understand. But come on, are you seriously telling me that there was no plan whatsoever to be aggressive? Because if so, then I'm really questioning the test credentials of the top batters that India have. But this wasn't the only thing he spoke about when it came to this. He also said something very interesting, which I think the top order batters should have heeded when he spoke about what the Guwahati pitch was playing like. He said that it was a very good true wicket. We don't often get such tracks in India. If you spend time there, runs are for the taking. Wow, that's an interesting assessment, and one that really comes about is a little different to what Kuldeep Yadav said. Kuldeep Yadav yesterday, when speaking to the media, said that this was like a road. What he said is that no, it's not a snake pit or it's not even flat. It was a good wicket. If you took time out, there are runs there on the offing. Gee, if only he could have advised the Indian batters at the top of the order and said, take your time. This is why also I say that perhaps this is not quite gelling. I refuse to believe that the Indian team management didn't give the batting orders then an order, no pun intended, that look, you need to bat and you need to bat quickly. You can't possibly look at taking time. But what Washington was saying was that if you took time, runs were there for the offing, and he proved it. Kuldeep Yadav showed that if you batted conventionally, you could survive. Why they didn't do it is beyond me. But speaking of batting orders, speaking of batting approaches, one of the more baffling things in the first test at Kolkata was when Washington Sundar was picked as India's number 3 out of absolutely nowhere. Now, this is a man who averages in the mid-20s when it comes to first-class cricket. Yet, his test average is much better, but first-class, not so much. And that's why he does most of his batting. So, what exactly changed there? And to make things worse, he was then demoted down the order. Come Guwahati was batting at number 8. Was that something that bothered him? Turns out not really. He said that, look, I would want to be the cricketer who steps up whenever and wherever the team requires me to bat or bowl. That's my mindset, and it's exciting for me. And to which I say, yeah, fair enough. I think a lot of players would have this mindset. Even if you've played at number 3 or number 4 in domestic, and if you're asked to bat 5 or 6, You'll take that if it means getting to play for India. Sure, I understand that. Same with Washington. He's someone who has shown his effect in white ball cricket, in particular being a power play bowler. But if you're having to bowl middle overs for India in white ball cricket or red ball cricket, you'll take it. You'll say, yeah, I want to be representing my country. I want to be playing cricket. So I'll take whatever role I get. That's a great mindset. What's not a great mindset is chopping and changing batting orders for the sake of it. And that obviously he was never going to address, because again, he's one of the younger players. This is something that team management, the top coaches will perhaps need to address. But it does show that the thinking is muddled. And Washington came out and flat batted most of the questions. He said, no, you're talking about batting approaches, but if it came off, you'd be celebrating their sixes. And, there's nothing of the sorts when it comes to who bats how. It's all an individual thing. Fair. I'm just saying I don't believe a word of it. I think the team management went for a gung-ho strategy, were found out, and as a result are staring down the barrel of a series whitewash at home. Again, you let us know in the comments below what your thoughts are, and don't forget, as always, if you enjoyed our work, to like this video, share it with your friends, subscribe to the channel, tap the bell icon, follow us on social media as well. We're on Instagram, X and Facebook, and stay tuned for more such videos from the world of sport.